Okay, so today I'm going to be giving my speech on OCD. There are many different forms of OCD, and they can be experienced in many different ways. The most common form of OCD would be checking. Checking is a broad category that includes obsessively checking clocks, ovens, light switches, or thinking you have a medical condition. This could be thinking you have schizophrenia and second guessing everything you do, or it can be constantly thinking you're pregnant even if it's not a possibility. Another form would be contamination, which is the fear of things that might be dirty and having the constant need to clean. This is also really extremely common and has been even more of a problem with COVID happening. But the contamination can cross over between having a fear of like physical dirt or being treated like dirt, and you think that you need to get rid of people in your life and sometimes get rid of them too frequently. Another kind would be symmetry and ordering, which is the need to have things lined up. This is also pretty common and experienced in a lot of ways. And ruminations or intrusive thoughts would be obsessing over a line of thought and could be violent thoughts. This is when it gets really dangerous for people to have OCD because they start hurting themselves or those around them. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is symptoms of OCDs. This is where the worrying comes in with the anxiety, which is worrying about yourself, as well as other people around you when excessive concern is not necessary. This is common in parents who stress about their kids' well-being or their kids' location or just anything about it. Never being able to stop thinking about breathing, blinking, or other sensations such as sounds even when it is not over the top. So if you started right now, I said, just think about your breathing, think about your blinking, you would be conscious, aware that you're blinking, you'd be aware that you're breathing. Another thing that is really common is distrust in partners, which is suspicion that a romantic partner is cheating on you or lying to you about a large aspect of life, such as finances or other relationships with other people. Repetitively repeating tasks would be having an idea in your head about a good number. I know I have OCD and I only like odd numbers, which is uncommon, of something to have or times to do something. So I might clean my room 3 times or have 3 pieces of candy. Another thing is the fear of touching things in public places. This is a huge problem with people during COVID, and you might see somebody with gloves on or something. They might not just be scared of the virus, they might have OCD and they're scared of germs such as the virus or other ones. The next aspect is risks. It's really affecting on family members. The people with OCD, their daily lives are just changed and affected, and they have no control over a lot of things that they should be able to control, and this is hard on their family members. Over time, it can be harmful to your body, but specifically your brain, because it deteriorates at a part of the back of your brain. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. So depression is the most common sister disorder that comes along with having OCD, because OCD is mentally draining and tiring, overall ending in depression. The problem with depression and OCD is that they have to be treated separately. You can't treat them together like with other mental disorders. Experiences with trauma. So that's a huge cause of having OCD, childhood trauma. But also, if you have OCD trauma that you experience currently, it will be a lot harder on you and harder to deal with, and you won't be able to recover from it as easy as someone without OCD might be able to. And it is the history of abuse once again. There are a few conditions that come along with having OCD that are just commonly associated. I know I said depression is a sister disorder, but these are some others. They include body dysmorphia. This is most common in girls who experience childhood trauma. OCD is much more common in females than it is males. Hoarding disorder. This comes into play when people who have kleptomania sometimes have OCD because they like to have things, and the organization issues, they like to have things just for the purpose of organizing them, not because they actually want them. Trichotillomania is pulling out your hair, and some people eat the hair that they pull out of their body. And then there's execration, which is pulling the skin off your hands or feet, or sometimes other parts of your body. I know that I have this part of OCD. Hypochondriasis is when obsessively thinking that you have an illness that you would not actually have. This is the schizophrenia, fear of being pregnant, that kind of thing. Also, another common part is olfactory reference syndrome, which most people don't know about, but that is constantly being aware of your body odor, whether it's your odor or the odor of someone else. OCD is pretty hard to treat, but there are a few different ways that it can be attempted to. There's no cure, but it can be treated to make symptoms less extreme. These include psychotherapy, which is behavioral therapy that helps to change your thinking patterns, and working to fix the issue at the root of the problem. This is the most effective treatment because if you have a cold, you take cold medicine, which treats the symptoms, but not the true root of it. This treats the true root. Relaxation is the most commonly recommended treatment for OCD, but also the least effective because this includes meditation, yoga, and massages. This treats the symptoms, but not the true issue. The kind of the last resort before like actual brain treatments would be medications because they're just hard to get off of, and if you have sister disorders that go along with OCD, such as depression, you should not go on the medications that come along with it. But the next would be neuromodulation treatments, which it's pretty rare that this is actually needed, but when it is needed, it changes the electric activity of certain parts of the brain, which is again in the bottom left. I don't want to say the name of. One example of neuromodulation would be transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is a form of this that uses magnets to change the electric activity.